This summer, I was invited by my friend Sarah Chrisman, also known as this Victorian lady, to read a book together and share our impressions and opinions about it. Reading a book with someone is something I have not experienced since high school, and at the time it was not books I had really chosen to read. This unexpected reading adventure with Sarah fulfilled a forgotten and buried wish of mine as a 15-year-old teenager living in my little village in the Alps who had very few friends and none who shared similar interests. At the time, I would have been bursting with joy to read a book with a correspondent living at the other side of the world, enjoying past centuries' history and classic literature, and sharing our impressions on the book with letters. Many decades later, this wish came true, and this summer, Balzac and his writings united two ladies living thousands of kilometers away from each other who turned the pages of the same book written almost 200 years ago, experienced the same roller coaster of emotions, sadness, surprises, and love, following the same characters but exchanging their impressions with a bit more modern tools. If you don't know Sarah Chrisman, she is a writer, an historian, and she lives in a little town in rural Iowa with her husband Gabriel, who is a librarian, in a beautiful Victorian house full of old and cherished books, goddess cats who keep her inspired while she writes. Her days are spent writing, studying, researching in old forgotten books, and in her vast collection of antique magazines. She has written a Victorian book series called The Tales of Chetzemoka, taking place in the Pacific Northwest, inspired both by her personal experience of the Victorian era and nourished by all her knowledge of the time. She also published many books composed of forgotten stories, poems, articles, patiently picked, gathered together in seasonal anthologies. On her channel, she shares her passion for the Victorian era, the Victorian literature, history, and discusses books with her husband.
Hey there, I'm author Sarah Chrisman.
I'm Gabriel Chrisman.
And today I'm going to talk to you about why I love history, but I hate Jane Austen.
She also shares her travelings and local escapades in Iowa. But she also encouraged her viewers and readers to read more, to cultivate a deeper life, to respect the past and its legacy, and to learn more about it. I suggested to Sarah that we could read together Splendeurs et Misères des Courtisanes by Balzac, translated as a Harlot High and Low, but also with the title The Scenes of a Courtisan Life or Splendor and Misery of a Courtisan. It is the most underrated masterpiece written by Balzac, which has nothing to envy to all your modern criminal, noir, and mafia TV series of these modern times. Historically, it's the very first novel featuring the underworld of Paris in 1820-1830, with the police and its officers and its secret services, the justice, judges, courtesans and prostitutes, but also the prisoners and the criminals. Now let's have a slice of our conversation with Sarah and discover what she thinks of the book.
If you had to pick a favorite character of all of the characters in here, who was your favorite?
Well, Carlos, for sure, 100%.
Carlos.
I like villains in general.
I remember that from your video about the executioners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was there, by the way. I did a video about executioners last year. Some people were really a bit angry with me with this video. They didn't like it. They didn't like the executioner in general, but they existed. And they didn't like my approach of it. But I thought, you know what? Since I've studied the execution and all of that, I've seen the characters mentioned in the book, the Sanson themselves, in so many other stories. Like they are so part of the cultural background and history, well, of France in that case and of Europe. So not knowing any of that, you have a big lack in your knowledge really of the time. So.
Well, it's an important part of history.
Yes, and it's everywhere. And Balzac used them a lot. He mentioned Les Sanson many times, so he appears again. And he's saying wrong things, by the way, because Balzac was supposed to write the first fake memoirs of the Sanson. And he didn't have all the information. He met one of them. And in the book here, he talks a little about them. And he's saying wrong things. He didn't check the archives or anything. So he just put out dates which are completely wrong.
I love the scene where Carlos sees the executioner, and of course he knows who this is, but because he doesn't want the guards to think he's an ex-prisoner and has experience, he approaches the executioner with, you are the chaplain, of course.
Yes. Oh, that's so funny. All Carlos' dialogues are absolutely to die for me, because he constantly plays irony with things, pretending to be so innocent. I love when he still pretends to be a priest in front of all the justice people in front of him who try to understand who he is. And the sentence, he speaks very well because he had a good education. So he's a criminal, but with a very good background. So he can talk in a very elegant way in front of these people. And it's just hilarious when you know he's a real criminal. He has done horrible things.
Right.
And what is your favorite character?
I think I would go with Esther because she's so sweet, and she's well-meaning in her way. She wants to live a better life, and she's a bit tragic, of course, and I felt sorry for her. But I actually had a soft spot for a very minor character, poor Clotilde.
I was thinking maybe you would. Yeah, this book, Clotilde.
Poor Clotilde, who is this girl who is very plain, kind of homely, very scrawny, and everyone is just trying to marry her off. And I felt for her, that poor girl who everyone's making fun of because she's so scrawny, but I liked her. And then in terms of just pure humor, there was the foolish banker, Nucingen. Yeah. I liked his scenes. I didn't like him, but I liked his dialogue because it was hilarious. There's a scene where I love the scene where he's getting dressed to meet his potential mistress, and his wife is giving him fashion advice.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
It was hilarious because it's the wife giving fashion advice for her husband to meet a girl he's trying to seduce, which you would never see that in an American novel.
This is a passage Sarah refers to in our conversation, where the wife of the banker, le baron de Nucingen, helps him getting ready for a date with a courtisane. De midi à 1h, le baron teignit ses cheveux et ses favoris. À 9 heures, le baron qui prit un bain avant le dîner fit une toilette de mariée, se parfuma, s'adonisa. Madame de Nucingen, avertie de cette métamorphose, se donna le plaisir de voir son mari. « Oh mon Dieu !» dit-elle, « êtes-vous ridicule ? Mais mettez donc une cravate de satin noir à la place de cette cravate blanche, qui fait paraître vos favoris encore plus durs. Mais d'ailleurs, c'est empire, c'est vieux bonhomme. Ôtez donc vos boutons en diamant, qui valent chacun 100 000 francs. Cette sagesse, vous les demanderez, vous ne pourriez pas les refuser. Et pour les offrir, autant les mettre à mes oreilles. » Ridicule, ridicule, je ne vous ai jamais dit que vous étiez ridicule quand vous y mettiez de votre mieux, pire votre petit monsieur de Rastignac. Je l'espère bien que vous ne m'avez jamais trouvé ridicule. Suis-je femme à faire de pareilles fautes d'orthographe dans une toilette ? Voyons, tournez-vous. Boutonnez votre habit jusqu'en haut, comme fait le duc de Maufrigneuse, en laissant libres les 2 dernières boutonnières d'en haut. Enfin, tâchez de vous rendre jeune.
What are the scenes which surprised you the most for that? As an American reader reading a lot of American or English novels of the time, what were the scenes which surprised you the most, so you would think, oh, that's a little unusual?
Well, there was definitely that one. There was definitely that one. What else? Oh, so many. The prison system was a very French-style prison system, and ours is a little different. And the duchesses. I think that the duchesses and their interactions were also very different from what we would see here, because we don't have that history of aristocracy. And so even though we have people, we have an upper crust, it's different. It's different. And so seeing the duchesses interact with each other and competing, and yet at the same time trying to protect each other, was a very interesting dynamic. And that's, again, something you wouldn't necessarily see in an American novel. In American stories, people are either enemies or they're allies. There's not a lot of situations where they're both. And so that was very intriguing to me, to see these enemy friends.
Yeah, and the fact that they had the same man in their life, blah, blah, they all have a husband, but who cares? I mean, and the other one, she had her husband helping her because she's sad because of her lover and all that. I mean, it's just crazy when you think about it.
Yeah.
Je me suis jurée de ne plus jamais écrire. Je n'ai dans toute ma vie écrit qu'à ce malheureux Lucien. Je conserverai ces lettres jusqu'à ma mort. Ma chère petite, c'est du feu. On en a besoin quelquefois. Mais si on les trouvait, fit la Camusot avec un petit geste pudique. Ah, je dirais que ce sont les lettres d'un roman commencé, car j'ai tout copié, ma chère, et j'ai brûlé les originaux. Oh, madame, pour ma récompense, laissez-les-moi lire. Peut-être, dit la duchesse. Vous verrez alors, ma chère, qu'il n'en a pas écrit de pareil à Léontine. Ce dernier mot fut toute la femme de tous les temps et de tous les pays. Now these green glasses are not a coincidence.
So I have my green glasses, as you can see, because I am a little dressed like Carlos in the coach when he's in front of the former spy police officer, and they are both in costume, both playing a game, and he has his tools and he's taking notes, and it's just a wonderful scene. I love it. And he has his green glasses because he has yellow eyes, and he needs to hide his yellow eyes so that the other doesn't recognize him. So yes, it's a really fun scene. And now when I will see these green glasses, I will think of Carlos and Trompe la Mort in the novel. Now the main difference there is between Balzac, Walter Scott, Charles Dickens, and many other writers of the first half of the 19th century is the way he navigates constantly with the censorship. And it's really surprising. I was surprised that back in the 1830s, he was able to write and to publish some of these things, like the behind the scenes of the life of prisoners, for example, example between each other. It's not something you see anywhere else at all. It's really interesting, of course, the convict language, how he captured all these sentences, the language, the way they behave between each other, and all this world, les Grands Finlandais, it's not something I've seen anywhere else, which were this mafia of the late I think it's 1817, 1820, that they were supporting each other, sharing their money, really like a real mafia actually. There was the super boss of this mafia, there was another group inside, which is the group of the 10,000s, and if you don't do anything unless you have at least 10,000 francs to make in any endeavor, really. So all this dark world was really interesting. Now the rest too, of course, the love stories, there are many love stories intricate in the story, in the novel, which are really moving, but there are a lot of scenes which are really surprising, I find, and you would never have that in Dickens. The way women all cheat on their husband and it's perfectly fine, the way husbands help them, their wives with their lovers, and the wife of Nucingen, she helped him getting ready for his date. All that is really, really fun and really unusual, and there are a lot of humor. Now, I never have really laughed a lot with Dickens, Walter Scott. You smile sometimes, there are things which are a bit funny, but Victor Hugo, you don't laugh at all, that's for sure. But with Balzac, you laugh a lot. If you are really into it, there are many fun scenes. There are tragedy and drama and tears, and you are going to be really sad. There are many poignant and really emotional scenes in the novel.
In this novel, you will meet several of the 500 main characters of La Comédie Humaine. This network is composed of 93 novels and short stories. Normally, Splendeurs et Misères des Courtisanes follows Le Père Goriot and Lost Illusions, but it can totally be read separately. And this is a roller coaster of emotions, tragedy, sadness, but also with a lot of humor and with exquisitely well-written dialogues. La colère de cet homme fut comme lui terrible. Il vint aussitôt en voiture, les stores baissés, chez Esther en faisant entrer la voiture sous la porte. Encore presque blanc quand il monta, ce double faussaire se présenta devant la pauvre fille. Elle le regarda, elle se trouvait debout, elle tomba sur un fauteuil, les jambes comme cassées. « Qu'avez-vous, monsieur ?» lui dit-elle en tressaillant de tous ses membres. « Laisse-nous, Europe, dit-il à la femme de chambre. Esther regarda cette fille comme un enfant aurait regardé sa mère de qui quelque assassin le séparerait pour pouvoir le tuer. « Savez-vous, vous enverrez Lucien ?» reprit Carlos quand il se trouva seul avec Esther. « Où ?» demanda-t-elle d'une voix faible en se hasardant à regarder son bourreau. « Là d'où je viens, mon bijou. » Esther vit rouge en regardant l'homme. « Aux galères !» ajouta-t-il à voix basse. He is the most Machiavellic villain in the French literature, the boss of the Parisian mafia called Les Grands Finlandais. He wears many names, including Carlos Herrera at the beginning of the novel or Trompe-la-Mort. This character will inspire Victor Hugo in Les Misérables to create two of his own characters, and Balzac was inspired by Vidocq, a famous criminal who escaped the galleys twice and became the superhero of all French criminals of the time, and his memoirs inspired countless novels, series, TV series, films and graphic novels.
Now it's the first time, as I said, that I read a novel with someone at the same time. I was rereading it because I knew the story already, but it was really fun reading it at the same time than Sarah and taking notes and exchanging our thoughts all along the way we were reading. And I would really encourage you, if you can find someone who would have the same taste and share the reading with you. I had some question if I would do a book club sometimes, but as you know, I'm not a writer and I don't really have only a book channel here, but I was thinking maybe of something, and if I do something I will share it in my Kingdom newsletter. So if you are subscribed to my Kingdom newsletter, you have the link under this video. I will share over there if I want to invite you to read the same book that me, for example, and we can share it in videos, or if you, just like we did for the pen pal swap last year, and we will redo it at the end of the year, we could do something similar for readers, people who want to read the same literature. In my case, I have very specific taste in books, and I would really struggle to find people who have the same taste than me. So it was really fun to do that with Sarah and to share, well, something we both really enjoyed. Because that's the thing, when you can really enjoy the book with someone else, it just changes everything. You talk a lot in your videos about reading, the importance of books. You are a writer who reads a lot for your own work and your own writing. How do you organize your reading in your day or your week between the reading for your work, your books, the reading as pure entertainment, the reading you do with your husband? I mean, how does it work all that in your life?
Well, basically any downtime, any time when I'm not doing something else like feeding the chickens or cutting bedding for the chickens, I'm reading. I don't watch television, and so reading is my entertainment, and it's also my job. As you said, I read to research for the books that I write. And so it just permeates my life. It's like if you take a cup of water and you pour it into a cup of sand, how do you separate the water from the sand? You really don't. You really don't, because, while I'm eating meals, I'll have a book, or if I go someplace, I'll have a book. And during the day while I'm writing things, I will be taking notes on the books that I'm using for the books I'm writing. But at the same time, the books I read for pleasure sort of filter into my head too and give me ideas. And so it's not so much organization as permeation.
Yeah, it's using and making the most of any time you have during your day. So
Yeah.
the reply you would give to people who say, I don't have the time and all of that, and who still have 5 hours to spend on the screen every day,
Right,
on the
right.
phone, you would
Yeah.
say use any minute you have where you are not doing anything at all.
Exactly, exactly. And I think people need to actually be honest with themselves and sit down and look at how they spend their time. And just like you occasionally will sit, we all will sit down occasionally and say, oh, well, maybe I'm spending too much money on this, and I need to save my money for this. It's the same thing with time, because time is the gold of our lives. The
Yeah.
minutes of our lives are the gold coins that we've been given, and we have to spend them very carefully. And I think it's better to spend them on books than on TV or on social media. And so,
Yeah, so you have, I mean, anybody has the time because
yeah,
it's just a choice of every moment. Like for those who use a phone a lot, you could have a book next to your phone each time you have the temptation to
yeah,
go on your phone
yeah,
and have a book anywhere you go on your bag, in your
yeah.
bag.
And something interesting, because my husband teaches at a university, and so he reads a lot about people's study habits. He read to me a passage where a researcher had worked out that if a student has their phone on their desk or their phone on a table somewhere else in the room or in a different room altogether, their score on their test will be a full grade higher if the phone is out of the room.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, even if they don't use it, just it being somewhere else, they are concentrating better. So if there are people, I don't have a cell phone at all. So,
Yeah, I know.
but I think that if people would even just put it in a different room, put the phone in a less convenient place and the books in a more convenient place, then you read more. And in
Yeah.
terms of books being in a convenient place, I've got, I don't know, Dear. Oh,
Yes,
dear.
yes,
And this
yes.
is
That's
my
a lot.
kitchen. This isn't even
Yeah,
the library room. This is just my kitchen because it had the best
yeah.
light at this time of morning. So just have the books very convenient to you. And when they're convenient, you will refer to them more. So,
Yeah, it's so important because, as you say, and you mentioned that a lot in your videos, like reading is declining. It's what
yeah.
all the studies show, which is really, really sad. And here in my region of France, a big companies of bookshops is closing. They are completely closing their doors, and they were huge. They were like a
Yeah.
reference for academics, for
Mhm.
big library with a lot of important books on languages and all of that. They are closing.
Yeah.
Nobody, people don't buy books anymore in these
Yeah, and
places.
it's
So.
such a shame. And here in America too, it's a big, big problem that students and people just aren't reading anymore, which is
Yeah.
it's really it's bad for them, but it's bad for society too, because people can't have the sort of conversations that are really meaningful. And
Yeah.
to me, I will confess, for me, it's very boring to try to have a conversation with someone who is always at a superficial level, who is
I
always,
know so well.
yes, yes. And to get at these deeper levels that for me are the interesting levels to talk about, you have to read, you have to engage with the minds that you meet through books and the thoughts that you encounter through books, because otherwise, I hate to say it, but otherwise these people are very boring.
But they are. I mean, they talk of nothing. And
Yeah.
it also, it makes you happy. Like, remove all of that, remove all the
Yeah.
cultural deep thing. You're just happy. Your brain needs quite focused time, like reading a book, the page, the sort of bubble it creates around you once you are engaged in the story.
Right.
And people don't realize how they miss that in the life of screen, screen, screen. And
Yeah. When I see a book, I see a door into another world. And
yeah,
why would you not go through that door? It is such a
yeah.
magical, magical thing.
Well, I hope it has interested you and maybe inspired you to read this novel or to find someone to read a novel with you, maybe. And you can watch the full complimentary video, of course, on Sarah's channel at This Victorian Lady, and well, go a little deeper in this conversation and in this novel of Balzac. There would be thousands of things to say about this novel. I could do a 5 hours video talking about the characters, the scene, what is so special about this novel. There are many, many things which are a bit unique and new in this novel, but we don't really have the time for that. I have many other things to do myself. So I will invite you to read it, to discover what is special, the fact that it's the first crime noir novel written. There another thing, which is the big elephant in the room. We didn't even talk about it with Sarah, and I'm not going to reveal it either. You have to read it, which is about this character, Carlos, but I don't reveal anything. He has something definitely you didn't see in the past in literature, which is arriving for the first time with Balzac. Balzac plays with a lot of censorship, as I say, in his novels in general, and this one in particular. But I leave you to discover that if you are interested. Thank you very much for spending this time with me. I will see you very soon. For now, I will leave you here. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and, of course, to go to visit Sarah on her own channel. Thank you. I will see you very soon.